Brittany Howard on iHeartRadio Live, a special show to celebrate her new album, What Now? Available now. I'm Jonathan Clark. Make sure to use the hashtag iHeartBrittanyHoward. So, Brittany, 5 years to bring us What Now? 5 years.
Well, I feel like a couple of those years don't count, though.
Yes.
Yep.
We'll talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, it's been a time full of self-reflection and inspection and new directions.
Got it. Your reworked 2019 solo album, Jamie. Am I saying that right? Jamie or Jamie?
Jamie.
Okay. With several different remixers for Jamie reimagined, did that experience of having your songs taken in many different directions sort of impact how you worked on the new album?
Oh, that's a great question. I feel like all of these peers, all these musicians that are around right now, I'm always like listening and taking direction and being inspired. So I think like the way that everybody did their own thing on Jamie Reimagined was like, yeah, I should do my own thing every single time. I should always make it something fresh and new to myself.
Most of the songs written during the pandemic, and we sort of referenced that before, you said you never thought they'd ever get released. What changed your mind about them?
It was funny. The idea kind of hit me like a truck. I was just like, oh, I'm making an album. Like, I was just doing little demos just because that's what I do. It's what I've always done since I was 11. So I was just doing my thing. I was just making little demos and kind of, they were like my journals. Like, it's just how I was feeling that day or something that's been on my mind. And then one day I was like, oh, I have so much here. I should make an album. So I reached out to Sean Everett, who I've worked with for the past 3 albums. And I was like, hey, man, you want to make another album? And he said, absolutely. And it just kind of took off from there.
Tell me about this Nashville haunted house. Is it really haunted?
Well, I mean, I think it was haunted, yeah. It was a rental house. I was in there only maybe a year. And there's an upstairs room. And if you ever went in that upstairs room, you would always feel like someone was in there with you. Very eerie. And then when you would lay down in the bed and get relaxed, something would knock on the dresser, like every time. So I stopped sleeping up there and I stopped having a creepy feeling. It was at a later time that there was actually an intuitive, what do you call them, like a psychic medium that lived there after me. And my friend was delivering her groceries, like for Instacart or something. And the lady was talking about how the house was haunted and how she said she cleared the spirit or whatever. So. Yeah. What do you think?
Love it. Cool. You say the songs on What Now are all their sort of own little world, or as you put it, every song is its own aquarium. With that in mind, was the sequencing of the album, putting the songs in the right order, a long process, or it just sort of happened naturally?
When it came to that, I actually stood back for that. I asked Sean Everett and I asked my manager, I was like, y'all listen to this and tell me what y'all think. And they kind of threw ideas in a hat. And then finally I would sit down and I would just close my eyes and listen to it. And I wasn't sure what sequence to put them in, but I was sure of the feeling I wanted to get. And I wanted it to kind of end with a question mark in a way, which is ironic because the album itself, What Now? The title doesn't have a question mark. But the very last trumpet that sounds with every color in blue kind of sounds like one. And so when we put that there and we started it with Earth Sign and everything in the middle felt kind of like a roller coaster ride, that's when I said, yeah, that feels right. That feels correct. And that's how we did it.
The title track is the song we heard first from What Now. People might not catch the direct lyrics, but they're enjoying the groove of that track. What was the inspiration for these really sort of honest lyrics? And did you need music that would get people dancing so you could deliver those words?
Yes. Yeah. The subject matter of What Now is kind of taking an honest look at wanting to leave a relationship, not really knowing how or if it's the best idea. But it's more just like, this is how I really feel, and these are the things that I won't say. I won't let myself say them because I'm afraid of what they might do. And so, yeah, I took those feelings and I said them anyway, and I encased them in something that's kind of hypnotic and contagious, like a pop song. And that juxtaposition of this darkness and this poppiness put together, I was like, yeah, I want this to go on the album. It sounds a little different than something I would do, but then who knows what I would do? It changes every time.
Let's talk about the song, Brittany, Red Flags, which is about heading into new relationships and maybe ignoring some of the warning signs about the other person. What's the biggest red flag for you when you start a relationship?
I mean, first and foremost, lying. Yeah. If you catch somebody a lie straight off the bat, that's just not a good sign. Yeah.
Have you ignored those red flags in the past?
Ooh, it's a good question, Jonathan. The answer is yes. It happens to us all. And it was like a 2020 hindsight vision thing. Like, of course that didn't make sense. They were lying. Yeah.
Prove It to You is the most dance-oriented song you've ever done. Were there any dance classics that may have influenced you, how you made this track?
Yeah, I Feel Love. And that is that Georgia Moroder? And who sings I Feel Love?
Oh, Moroder, maybe?
Moroder. Yeah, Moroder and I'll say it again if I can get the information.
Yeah. I'm going to look it up.
Not Diana Ross, but
Donna Summer?
Donna Summer. Yeah. One of the inspirations was I Feel Love, Donna Summer. Yeah.
There's a series of sounds that link the album's songs together that were created by two friends of yours from the Nashville Center for Alternative Therapy using their crystal singing bowls. How did you get turned on to the sound of these bowls, and why were they perfect for this album?
There is an alternative therapy center in Nashville. It's called Nashville Center for Alternative Therapies. I started going there maybe it's been 7 years now, 7 years ago. And I started learning about all types of ways to deal with stress and all this. And the crystal singing bowls is part of it. And I started to get really into the way it made my brain feel. Like after I was in a session, I felt very grounded and very connected and very open. And so I just wanted to do like a little experiment. I was like, what if I put this kind of things on the album? And in between songs, there's this moment that's kind of like getting your brain to open up to this next song. So it's kind of like a landing pad, and then you get in the next chopper and you take off again, you know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to experiment with it.
You've also said that What Now is meant to be listened to alone, so you can really meditate with it. Are there albums that you like to listen to alone and maybe even perhaps meditate to them?
Wow. The first one, there's plenty, but the first one that came to my mind was Vonacura by Bjork. That was one of those ones that I had to just sit down and listen to.
The songs on What Now are really diverse and sound different than Jamie. What was the key to making these songs blend in a live set with tracks for your first album?
You know, it's crazy. They actually kind of just go right into each other. It all makes perfect sense. Like, you know, I got a show in a couple days, and I'm really excited for people to see how it all makes sense together, you know? It's not so far out.
You're playing two really big festivals in the U.S. this spring, Coachella and then later Bonnaroo. Do you feel extra pressure at those big festivals with that massive audience, or is it just like another gig?
I take every single one of my gigs seriously. So it doesn't matter if it's a 250-person club or if it's 80,000 people at Bonnaroo. I would like to show up excellently every single time. I take a lot of pride in our performing.
Some artists say that, you know, those big festivals, you can only see like the first 3 rows, and then you look back and it's like an ocean of people, right?
Listen, when you got like a daytime slot, you see all 80,000 of them. It is wild, yeah.
How would you describe the new album in one word?
I guess I would have to say meditative.
Do you remember the first time you heard one of your songs on the radio? What went through your mind? And where was it?
The first time I heard one of my songs on the radio. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. I'm going to have to think of one. Okay. I think one of the first times I heard my song on the radio, I think we were in the van on our first tour ever, as Alabama Shakes. And it came on the radio. And I remember everybody was yelling so loud over it. Most of the song finished before we could even hear it. Very exciting time. Yeah. And where was I? In the middle of the desert, somewhere out in California.
Perfect. Brittany, we appreciate you taking some time with us to talk about What Now. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for watching. Did you like that video? You can check out a few more over here, and don't forget to subscribe to iHeart right here. And if you're already a longtime fan, make sure you ring the bell down below so you don't miss a single video. We'll see you next time.